This is the NCN 6 o'clock news. Latin America and Caribbean countries need billions of dollars to deal with the economic impact of climate change, funding that is not easily found on the international market. A World Bank study says natural disasters related to climate change cost an average of 0.6% of the gross domestic product of the affected countries in the region. Here is Edward Lane with more.
The study on the impact of climate change was presented recently at a Congress of Legislators from the Americas in Mexico City to discuss the challenges of the global financial and climate crises. According to the document, storms, droughts and flooding, all as a result of climate change, which is increasing, could shrink GDPs by 2% per decade in the region. The economy of the Caribbean alone could experience $6 billion in losses by 2050 in tourism, coastal protection, and the pharmaceutical and fishing industries. Although Latin America accounts for a small portion of global greenhouse gases emission, the region will need to take measures for staying on a high growth, low carbon track. Latin America is responsible for 12% of the global greenhouse gas emission, which according to the scientific community are causing global warming and climate change. Brazil and Mexico, the Latin American giants, are the biggest emitters in the region. A December 9 to 10 conference in Poland will assess compliance with the Kyoto Protocol, which went into force in 2005, setting specific targets for industrialized countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. But the World Bank report suggested that the region reduce the intensity of its carbon emission by 2020, while industrialized countries could transfer the necessary resources and technology to that end. The World Bank recommended that the region establish an international architecture on climate change and domestic policies to adapt to the effects of global warming and take advantage of the opportunities for mitigation. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Bosai Minerals Group is hoping to expand its alumina activities and industrial capacity in Guyana. Managing Director Zealand Wan unveiled the company's long-term strategic plans during a heads of agreement signing at the Duke Lodge yesterday. More in this report.
Managing Director of Bosai Minerals Group, Zealand Wan, says the company has recorded significant successes over the past 18 months, and with increased sales and profits, he says the local subsidiary has become an integral part of Bosai's globalization plan. As such, the company aims to expand its mining operations in Guyana. This includes increasing calcine bauxite production capacity by 50% from 300,000 to 450,000 tons within the next 2 years. The company also intends to import more mobile equipment to expand its mining capacity and cut production costs.
In addition, we plan to investigate the possibility of starting molybdenum production to further diversify our refractory business. Finally, if cheap hydropower becomes available in Guyana, we plan to expand into downstream processing of luminal products. One possibility is to produce white fused luminol made from luminol, and the other is to build an aluminum metal.
Should hydropower become available in Guyana, the managing director says Bosai will examine the possibility of utilizing power from Amelia Falls.
Guyana is not only rich in bauxite, but also in hydro resources, and cheap power should be possible if the resources are fully utilized. We look forward to working with the government of Guyana and the people of Guyana to make our projects successful.
Bosai is one of the largest privately owned mining and mineral processing groups in China. In 2007, it purchased a bauxite mine in Linden from the Omai Mining Company and has since been producing calcine and various chemical-grade bauxite ore. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardul Lal.
In the meantime, Bosai says it intends to install dust suppression equipment near its bauxite plant in Linden during the first quarter of 2009. This will be done upon the completion of a feasibility study of the area. The company is expending $3 million to manage dust pollution, and it hopes by September of next year the problem could be resolved. For the past few years, residents in Linden have been complaining about the increase in dust emissions from Bosai's operations. This has resulted in several protests and threats of legal action. The Guyana Post Office Corporation is urging persons to avoid the upcoming holiday rush and post their mails early. Shadalal sat down with Deputy Postmaster General Henry Dundas, who highlighted the corporation's plans for the season and the importance of early postage. Let's take a look.
The Christmas season is a time of joy, celebration and goodwill, and for most it is also an opportunity to exchange greetings and messages among loved ones. Hence it is regarded as the busiest time of the year for the Guyana Post Office Corporation. So the Deputy Postmaster General Henry Dundas is advising persons to avoid the holiday rush by posting their mails early.
Now there is a tendency by most persons to wait until the last minute, and there's a big rush to get mail posted out. So we want to encourage our customers to post early. And there are a number of different things you can do. You can post. We have our normal letter. There's what we call the International Express Mail. We like to encourage persons to use that provision too. And if you have some items you want to post to, the parcel post.
He says early postage of overseas bound mail is also necessary since airlines usually have a limited capacity in the December period.
We have engaged the airlines and we have agreements with them in terms of moving our mail. So we have considered that, and that is why we've put the date for overseas to the 11th, because we take into consideration that these airlines will also have to move cargo.
Despite the presence of international express services, Dundas says most persons still opt for the post office since its services are available countrywide and are more affordable. Overseas mail should be posted by Thursday, December 11, while local mail will have to be sent by Saturday, December 20. The Deputy Postmaster General says some 400 postal officers will be working throughout the country to ensure that there is greater efficiency in mail delivery. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.
CARICOM trade ministers have agreed on a number of key areas of interest in the implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy at the 26th meeting of COTED, which concluded here yesterday. The trade ministers have highlighted the critical role of the CSME if the recently signed economic partnership agreement with Europe is to work. Edward Lane reports.
The CSME, the Caribbean Development Fund, and the CARICOM Competitions Commission on External Economic and Trade Relations are some of the key issues that came in for scrutiny at the just concluded COTED meeting here. The region's foreign trade ministers admitted the Cayman Islands membership of Caribbean Agriculture Research and Development Institute. The ministers regarded the operationalizing of the Caribbean Development Fund as a significant step in the advancement of the CSME. The ministers noted the progress of implementing the free movement of skills and established a working group to look at the categories of skilled nationals moving to other CARICOM member states. The working group will also consider the harmonization of procedures across the various categories and the security of certificates and supporting documentation. Ministers held preliminary discussions on the negotiating CARICOM Canada Trade and Development Agreement and the CARICOM Dominican Republic Free Trade Agreement. The regional trade officials also received proposals for expanding preferential market access under the CARICOM-Cuba Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement. The meeting was updated on the discussions of the Bureau of Heads of Government regarding the impact of the global financial crisis on the community. The 27th meeting of COTED will be held here in April of 2009. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.